Loyalty takes the first again last video. First class, thousandaire. Hey, I'm back. I know it's been a few days, but here I am, ready with another fun-filled episode. I'm gonna talk about all different kinds of stackers. And of course, we'll look at some of the shiny stuff. So pull up a hot cup if you got one. This video is going to be interesting. Cheers to you, friendo. Hit the like button. A silver and gold stacker often goes through several stages in their journey, evolving with experience, financial goals, and market conditions. Here's a general progression. Let us know what phase of the progression you are currently at in the comments below. Why not? All right, let's just get into it. Number 1, curiosity and discovery. Learns about silver and gold through YouTube, forums, or finance discussions. Fascinated by the idea of wealth preservation, inflation hedging, or economic collapse preparation. Buys first few pieces, often rounds, coins, or small bars without much strategy. I would probably add a phase before this one. I would call it the seed. Maybe it's not present in all stackers, but I've found it to be very common. So what do I mean by the seed? I think so often we had an elder during our childhood give us a coin or show us some coins, or maybe they showed us how to spot the constitutional silver in change. And that kind of sparks an eye for silver and irregularities in the coinage. Do you have any memories from your childhood of maybe an older family member showing you silver coins? Maybe you just admired their collection, or maybe they even gave you a silver coin. Oh, or if you were really lucky, perhaps a gold coin. I guess we could still chalk this up as a financial discussion. But when I started saving silver coins out of my change as a child, it wasn't really for financial reasons. They just stood out to me as an anomaly or a rarity, like any other coin I would get from a foreign country, or perhaps a note like a silver certificate or a bill with a red seal. At the time, I had no idea of our money's history or our descent into fiat. Although I was aware that you could cash in a silver certificate for silver at the bank at one time. But it wouldn't be till maybe, 14, 15 years later until I had the real financial discussion around 2009, 2010, when one of my supervisors at my job showed me an American Silver Eagle. The look and the weight in my hands immediately resonated with me. I had remembered going to an indoor flea market with my father, maybe back in 1992, 93, and him purchasing an American Silver Eagle. I wasn't too impressed at the time. Also, my mother would look through change and save me foreign coins and silver coins, and she used to give me Walking Liberty halves, which I'm sure you know has that iconic obverse of Walking Liberty, same as the ASE, or American Silver Eagle. So whether consciously or subconsciously, these memories returned to me when I was handed the 1 ounce of silver. So now do you see what I mean by seed? That association was already there, planted prior by kind acts from my mother, father, and even my grandparents, but I won't get into all of it. But those were good times and good feelings instilled in me already. So the seed had been planted. It didn't take much for my supervisor to persuade me to start buying these from him and stacking them. I was giving him around $17, $18 at the time for each eagle. Yeah, sounds nice, right? That supervisor was trying to have the discussion with me, telling me the precarious situation of the United States financially. That didn't really concern me too much at the time. I knew that the United States always ran a pretty hefty deficit, and my finances were pretty precarious as well. Let's just say I was rather familiar with every pub in a 25-mile radius, and many of them were also pretty aware of me as well, whether it be positive or negative. Yeah, so I was terrible at holding on to my cash. So purchasing the ounces of silver seemed like a great way to circumvent my second personality, the intoxicated nighttime me, with whom I would always try to persuade to go to sleep earlier and not leave me with such a headache in the morning, and with low or no cash. I'll also note that he ate bad food and wouldn't brush his teeth before bed. Gross. Not good. It would take me many years to conquer this other side of me. But little by little, the daytime me would start taking over. And with the enablement of my supervisor, I could actually start preserving some of my wealth. Preserving it not from government policies or the Federal Reserve, but from myself. Anyhow, now that I had some silver, I became interested in its market fluctuations. It was a rush watching the price go up and down. And at that time, as you know, in 2010, it was mostly up. I'm not sure exactly when I decided to type in silver on YouTube. But when I did, it was shock and awe. My first memories are David Morgan talking about silver shortages and how it's consumed to make so many products and how rare it is in the Earth's crust, and with very optimistic outlooks on silver's price action, to say the least. I would eat it up. After all, I was a noob. I'd break out the calculator. I'm like, if silver goes to $200 an ounce, I'll have this much. Wow. I would watch silver futurist videos. He was pretty entertaining. And then somewhere along the way, I learned about hyperinflation. I never knew about hyperinflation. It was a real eye-opener. After watching lengthy videos on it from my desktop computer, because I used a flip phone then, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Or maybe I believed it too much because it seemed to make so much sense. I figured surely it had a high probability of inevitability. I'm not sure if I used words correctly there, but that's how I felt. SHTF was now on my mind. And not only did I want more silver, but now I wanted some dry beans and rice, in case the shelves in the stores should go empty. And to be fair to the YouTube commentators at the time, the shelves would go empty a little over a decade later. Actually, not even. It was less than 10 years. And by then, I would have much more than rice and beans stocked up. So that was my curiosity and discovery phase. If you feel like typing a lot, put yours in the comments below. It's always interesting hearing how people got started. All right, let's move on to number 2, the excitement phase. Oh, I'll ask, if you have not already, can you please hit the like button? Your likes grow the Thousandaire community, and that's a good thing. I appreciate your generosity, friendo. It'll come back to you. It always does. All right, number 2, the excitement phase. Are you excited? I'm excited. Buys frequently, sometimes impulsively. Guilty. Enjoying the thrill of stacking. Definitely guilty. Experiments with different types of bullion, numismatics, junk silver, etc. Starts following precious metals prices daily and engaging in online stacking communities. Are you in the excitement phase right now? Let me know in the comments below. I think maybe it should be called the initial excitement phase, because I'm always excited to go to the coin shop, and it's been many years. But I think what separates my current excitement from the initial excitement phase is the amount of recklessness. What are some examples of this recklessness, you might say? How about overbuying on headline hype? What's my definition of overbuying? Maybe if you get in a pinch and you have to sell it shortly after you purchased it, or having to sell it while the price is down. This could be a sign that you bought a bit too much, or perhaps exuberantly FOMO'd in on a high. I'm pretty sure we've all been there. New at the game, petting our small stack like Dr. Evil pets his cat while watching a YouTuber reassuring us that we have indeed done the right thing and should expect to become very wealthy, perhaps even by tomorrow. Surely it's inevitable. With silver and gold's rarity and history as money, irresponsible government spending and accumulation of debt, leading to other countries possibly trying to circumvent or undermine our status as the world reserve currency, coupled with instabilities or conflicts, wars. Oh, and maybe you got a hot tip that the tanks are going to be firing pure silver rounds this year, and each one weighs 10 kilos. That evaporates upon impact. I'll get to the coin shop early so that I can buy my silver before anyone else sees that video. I'm not saying there's no truth to these things, except maybe the tank round. But chances are, if there's hype, it's already priced in. And if it's not completely priced in, it will be soon, and there'll be a hefty pullback to pay. Because everything I just mentioned has been going on for decades. They're all considerations, and I believe in silver and gold, and I do stack them because of it. But I treat it more like a marathon than a sprint. What's another reckless thing we could do during the excitement phase? What comes to my mind is maybe buying collectible silver, especially collectible rounds, which aren't necessarily a mistake, but they can be a mistake to many. So often, I see high premium silver in the low premium silver bin at the coin shop. And trust me, I get it. Silver can be very beautiful and shiny. But if you get carried away without a plan on how you're going to sell those collectibles, They could prove to be the woman in the red dress in the Matrix, taking your attention away from the main focus, wealth accumulation. At least that's my main focus, says the guy irresponsibly stacking Morgan dollars. Hey, I like ladies in red dresses too, all right? No one's perfect. Anyhow, I buy shiny, premium, limited, mintage, silver rounds like I buy cars. I don't drive them fresh off the lot. I buy them used. It's nice to add some spice to the soup once in a while, but not too much because you'll ruin it. If the price of silver should spike up very high and fast, it won't stay there long. The window of opportunity to sell could be much smaller than the window you need to sell collectibles. And if you're trying to capitalize on a price spike with a dealer, they're going to look at you dead-eyed, and you should listen very carefully because you'll hear a small violin playing as you try to explain the collectible value to him. You may get a fake empathetic look out of him and a smile, but what you most likely will not get is your premiums back. Oh man, I'm horrifying myself thinking of those 1 troy ounce silver comic book covers I've bought that are graded. But then again, I do have a plan. All right, I'm going to move on to the third phase of stackers in their journey. But if you could think of some pitfalls in the excitement phase of stacking that I didn't list or say, put it in the comments below. So what is the third phase a gold and silver stacker often goes through in their journey? Number 3, the hoarding phase. In the hoarding phase, stacking becomes an obsession. Purchases increase in frequency and volume. The stacker builds a diverse collection of bars, rounds, constitutional silver, and premium coins. They may ignore premiums, focusing solely on stacking ounces, and begins to store metals in multiple locations for security. Any of this sound familiar? If you're in this phase, put it in the comments below. Or if you've been in this phase, because you very well could be in the next phase I'm going to go over, or perhaps even the one after that. This phase certainly strikes chords with me. Stacking has indeed become an obsession for me. I do purchase very frequently and impulsively buy a little more when I'm there at the LCS. Yes, a bit too impulsively sometimes, but not enough to regret a purchase. I have a diverse collection, but I don't really have any hefty bars right now. I do have geographically diversified storage with my hoard, and I have been known to ignore some premiums on occasion. I'm not proud of it, but it happens sometimes. My main focus is on the frequency and my psychology. I believe wealth accumulation is more psychological than mathematical. But the math is still important, don't get me wrong. Yeah, so I check many of the boxes with this phase. How about you? Let me know in the comments below. Are you in or have you been in the hoarding phase? Or maybe not, but you look forward to it perhaps? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And look for other people's comments. I keep saying it, your network is your net worth. Get to know the other thousandaires. You may meet them one day. Once I secure funding, I will mobilize the community. Perhaps with events, maybe something charitable and fun, or endeavors such as gentrifying rundown neighborhoods. Maybe we'll build an analog wealthy community. Someone in the comments could end up being your neighbor. Anything's possible, really. You figure every thousandaires is likely worth well over $1 million. So as we grow in numbers, so do the possibilities of what we can accomplish as a group. That's the value that I see in you. I don't see you as bullion customers at all. And I see myself as a thousandaire, just like you, but I have the responsibility of making a video very often. It doesn't just have to be me. You can make videos too. In fact, I encourage it. With a large group of financially responsible, hardworking people, what cannot be done? So press all the buttons you can to engage with the video, and let's grow this community. And I will move on to the fourth phase a silver and gold stacker often goes through in their journey. Number 4, the strategic phase. The stacker becomes more disciplined, shifting from quantity to quality and cost effectiveness. Understands market cycles, premiums, and liquidity concerns. Develops a long-term stacking plan, dollar cost averaging, waiting for dips, etc. Starts considering exit strategies and diversification into other assets. Uh-oh, I mentioned it, other assets. That's gonna get a lot of 1 through 3 phase stackers riled up. So in this phase, the stacker becomes more disciplined. Have I become more disciplined? I think so. I'm a little better at holding on to cash, that's for sure. A little better, but much better than I was. What are some other disciplines I've adopted or strengthened? I buy all my food and drinks from the grocery store. On occasion, I'll go out to dinner with someone or maybe grab a coffee at a shop and sit outside. But that's on occasion. That's not the norm. That's not every day. That's not most days. You certainly won't see me in a pub or a tavern. I think I got that down to once a year now. And when it happens, it's still a mistake. I don't do it on purpose. I may start drinking at home and then I take a stroll. The next day, I'll check my credit card charges, mostly to make sure I paid the tab. And then I'll check my phone's step counter to see how much the werewolf walked around the night prior. So, is my life boring because of these disciplines? No, I feel great. Most of the boredom or irritability when you quit something just happens right after you do it. But you eventually settle into your new norm, which may not sound appealing to you from the mind state you were in before you quit, whatever it was. But I assure you, there is happiness on the other side once you get through whatever withdrawals it may be. Not only have the disciplines I've adopted made me wealthier, but also healthier. And to be honest, I look forward to implementing even more disciplines, which almost always equate a much higher quality of life. How about you? What disciplines have you adopted and how have they paid off? Put it in the comments below. I'd like to read it. If you're listening to this and you happen to be struggling with a lot of bad habits yourself, get excited because that's untapped wealth. That's already yours. You're just misallocating it. And make no doubt, you can make a change. It's easy. Just stop what you're doing and do something else. And if anyone close to you has a problem with it, get rid of them. Yeah, get rid of them fast. Because if they have any issue with you becoming better, then they probably don't care about you. And even if you end up alone, it's better than being around people who want the worst for you. Do you know how I got rid of all my nightlife friends? I just started going to bed early. That can get rid of them all in one foul swoop. Yeah, so don't overcomplicate it. You can change. And it's worth it. So, do I understand market cycles, premiums, and liquidity concerns? I think so. Can I predict them? Well, that's another story altogether. Do I have a long-term stacking plan, cost averaging? Yes. And I keep a wandering eye for a dip now and then. Do I consider exit strategies and diversification into other assets? You better believe I do. If you sell off some of an asset at a high or on its way to a high, because you can cost average sell as well, and roll those funds into an asset that you believe in long term that's at a low, and again, you can cost average into that as well. If you've done your homework and you do this, there is so much value to capture. And if you don't feel like selling anything, just buy things while they're down and don't buy things when they're up dramatically. If you have an asset in your portfolio that you believe in long term, maybe just start buying into that one. And leave another asset alone for a while if it seems kind of hot right now. All of this is easier said than done, I know. But this is how I think, and I thought I would share it with you. Everyone doesn't want to be a portfolio manager, I get it. But you should at least have an overview of your assets. I'm particularly fond of using pie graphs. Also, you should take inventory. If you can, once a month is great. Add up your asset values and get a total. I like to enter that total each month on a bar graph, so I can see if my asset value is trending up or trending down. Remember, what gets measured gets improved. Well, most things. And when you're valuing things, round down for your assets and round up for your expenses, and you'll always be pleasantly surprised. Do the opposite, and you'll surely be disappointed quite often. All right, so what's the fifth level up or level of enlightenment that a stacker may realize on their journey? Number 5, the realist phase. The stacker recognizes that precious metals are a wealth preservation tool, not a get-rich-quick scheme. They begin to balance stacking with other investments like stocks, real estate, or businesses. They may sell or trade portions of the stack strategically. They stop obsessing over spot prices and focus on long-term value. So, are we still in my wheelhouse? I think so, a little bit. Let's see if I qualify for the realist phase. I recognize that precious metals are a wealth preservation tool and not a get-rich-quick scheme, which is a bit extreme wording. I see gold and silver as money. And while we get wealthier saving money, money in and of itself is not an investment. Can you speculate on silver and gold, maybe even leverage it? Of course you can. But I choose many other assets over gold and silver for that purpose. So I guess you can say that I balance stacking with other investments. Do I sell portions of my stack strategically? Well, I like to think it's strategically. But yeah, I have no qualms telling you that I'm selling gold or silver when I'm selling it. And that's okay. I'll put up with the comments below. You can look at some of my older videos. I never delete them, but I've been scrutinized and critiqued, and I'm sure even ostracized by some viewers for selling gold to buy, I think, $17,000 Bitcoin, or even just for buying Bitcoin. I even borrowed against my gold to buy some Bitcoin at that time as well. And I've taken profits from Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to buy gold and silver. My fondest memory probably being when I sold $4,600 Ethereum to buy $200 10-ounce bars of silver. And what was I doing then? Just balancing my portfolio. Ethereum was hot. I needed to get rid of some of it. And at the time, everyone was complaining about silver. And I believe in silver long term. Did I enjoy making this move at the time? Not really. Am I glad I did? Oh yeah. All right, so what's the last qualifier here? Do I obsess over spot prices? Not so much. I used to check the spot prices with my coffee in the morning. These days, I really don't check them that much, although I do have friends that bring up the prices in conversation quite often. Because now I have stacker friends rather than drinking buddies. Big improvement. So, are you in the realist phase? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and if you're still here, consider subscribing to the channel. We can always use another 1,000 there. And I make a video almost every day. Almost. So don't leave it to chance and hit that button. And by now, I really hope you hit that like. And now it's time for the final grand master stage of stacking. Number 6, the legacy phase. The stacker has accumulated significant wealth in metals. Bullion dealers constantly contact him for sponsorship. I'm just kidding, I added that. The stacker begins planning inheritance, wealth transfer, or strategic liquidation. They educate family or trusted individuals on the importance of precious metals. They reflect on their journey, often advising younger stackers. Is this you? Have you reached the legacy phase? Let us know in the comments below. Well, it looks like I finally did it. I made a 22-minute video. That's been my goal for a while. I hope you enjoyed it, friendo. On your commute, lunch break, or perhaps just sitting on your couch. Hopefully you got your feet up. I hope you hit some buttons to reward me for working on this long video, because that's it. That is it. Thousandaire Radio, wicked shout.